Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Shah, and today we have a special guest, Miss Katherine Norland. She is an inspirational actress at Dharman Studios, a and a filmmaker and author of 3 books, and an encouragement coach, and a lot more. So, I warmly welcome you to the Learning Podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, let's open our questions. So, should we open our questions now?
Is this a call-in show where people call in their questions?
No.
Or what do you mean?
I have some written questions from my audience, which they are facing a hard time to solve it. And I have also some of my personal questions, which I want to ask you.
Okay.
So the first question is for this interview: how to stay consistent to your goal and avoid distractions?
How to stay consistent with your goals and avoid distractions?
Yes.
So many ways that we can get distracted these days. I think the first thing you need to do is identify what your distractions are. And if you know it's your phone, then when you're trying to do your focused work, that's what's going to get you closer to your goals, to have a set period of time each day where you work on your goals in a focused manner and you make a decision not to have your phone in the room with you, so you don't get tempted to pick it up. Like sometimes I find myself when I'm trying to work on my book or work on my course, if I hit like a slump, like I hit a brick wall, a thought, and I don't know what to say, or I feel like I'm starting to not know what to write, it's so easy to just pick up the phone and, let me just take a break and see what people are saying or whatever. So you have to know what those things are and get them out of the way, and allow yourself, even if it's just an hour a day, a focused time, that you will get more done sometimes in an hour where you put all your distractions aside than you would trying to work on it throughout the day with allowing all the distractions in. So the first thing I would say is identify your distractions and then get that distraction out of the way and have at least a minimum of an hour focused time to work on your goals. And the other thing about being consistent is you have to schedule your goals. You have to write down all the steps it's going to take to get to your goals. So if you want to start a podcast, or if you want to start an acting career, you need to do all the research you need to do on what it's going to take to make that happen. And once you've written it all down, then start to break it down into what I call daily doables, little tiny chunks that you can accomplish one of them each day, and schedule them each day. Because if you don't put it on your schedule, then it's easy to just say, well, I'll do it another day, or I don't feel like it today. So staying consistent is about breaking your goals down into smaller bits so it doesn't get overwhelming for you, and then scheduling it.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The second question is, what is an encouragement coach and how it helps people?
Mm-hmm. So an encouragement coach is similar in some ways to a life coach. It's a mentor of sorts. It's someone who finds out what your goals are in life and why you're not meeting those goals, what areas you might need help with. So it's, in my approach to encouragement coaching, I find out about the client, what their goals are, and then I find out what's stopping them. I find out what is standing in the way of them accomplishing those dreams. And they'll usually give me several reasons, but those reasons they think are stopping them aren't really what's stopping them. They'll usually give me physical, concrete things like, well, I can't do it because I don't have the money, or I can't do it because I don't have the education, or I can't do it because I don't have the connections. Whatever the excuses are for why they can't do it initially, usually there's something much deeper, and we have to pull back the layers and discover, okay, what is the real mindset behind this? Because a lot of times excuses just are we're giving reasoning for why we're not doing what we're doing, because underlying there might be some kind of fear that we're not going to make it, fear it's not going to turn out, fear of criticism, fear of what people are going to think. And so I help them peel back the layers to find out why they're not accomplishing their dreams. And your mindset has a lot to do with it. You know, you may have everything laid out for you that things could go perfectly, but then you sabotage yourself. You do something to mess it up because you have a perceived way of looking at yourself. You think of yourself in a certain way. And because you decide what you are capable of or not capable of, when you start getting close to your goals, if it seems out of reach or if you don't feel like you're worthy, you will unconsciously or subconsciously sabotage yourself from accomplishing that thing that you want so badly because you don't feel you deserve it, or there's a myriad of other reasons why. So I get in there and I help someone figure out what's stopping them and what's behind it, what is really stopping them. And then I help them overcome whatever is facing them, whether it's help with the changing their mindset, looking at things from a different perspective, because you know how it is sometimes when you're like stuck and you're trying to do something and you've been working on it for a long time, and someone else will just come in the room and be like, oh, here, do, and they fix it in like 5 minutes. And you're like, I've been working on that for hours. How did you do that? Sometimes we can't really see what the real issue is because we're so entrenched in our problems and we're emotionally tied to them. We're emotionally tied to some kind of outcome. So when you have someone from an outside perspective that can come in and see things without an emotional attachment, sometimes it's a lot easier to find the answer that way. And I don't coach people all the same. All my clients are different. And the way I approach giving them the encouragement coaching they need. Some of them need like a cheerleader to hold their hand and to help them take baby steps through it. And some of them need more like a kick in the pants and they need a strong message to get them through. So it's not the same for everyone. I kind of find out what each person needs and I see what works for them. And I tailor my coaching to what each person needs.
And you also need a lot of patience for them.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm telling that you also need a lot of patience for them because everyone is different. Yeah.
Yes, it can be a learning curve, and you're right. You have to have patience, and it's different than therapy. Sometimes people will go to therapy for years and years and years, and they don't seem to get better. And I try not to keep my coaching clients for more than a year or two, because I really want to see them make progress. And if they're not making progress and they're not making strides to their goals, I suggest, either this isn't working or we need a different approach. I don't want to have clients for life. I want them to go for their dreams and soar and be able to, I want to give them the tools they need so that they can stand on their own. They can face whatever is coming their way and get stronger and stronger and more confident. So there comes a day where they don't need to ask me for every issue or ask me for every dilemma, because they're getting the tools and training they need to stand on their own and be strong.
That's a wonderful job.
Thank you.
The next question is, how do you balance your life as an author, actress, coach, wife, and mother of 2 children?
People
how do you
have
multitask it?
What's that? Multitasking?
Yeah. How do you multitask everything and balance it?
Oh, yeah. For me, I cannot multitask. I've tried so many times, and all I end up doing when I'm trying to do more things at once is I end up doing each job worse. I just do each job mediocre. So I have to just focus on whatever the task is at hand. So here I am doing this interview with you. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, I hope the kids don't barge in and start making noise. And I hope this, it's sometimes you have to really hone in to be focused and not think of the 20 things I need to do when I get off this, podcast and whatever. It's really just being in the moment with the person you're with the task that you're doing. And it's trusting that you have enough time. You may not have time for everything, but you do have time for the most important things. And we have to get to the point where, like, I used to drive myself crazy because I would try to schedule 20 things to do in a day. And then I would do them poorly. I would not finish them. I would do it halfway. And it's much better to figure out what is your top 5 or 6 things to do each day. The most important things that are going to make a difference in your life, your happiness, your goals. What are the needle movers going to be? You know, deciding which tasks could be deleted, delegated, or which ones you have to do, or which ones you can delay. Those are 4 decisions I make each morning when I look at my calendar. Do I have to do this? Can I delegate this? Can I delay this to do another day? Or can I just delete it? Does it even need to be done? And when you do that every day and you don't feel that overwhelming sense of, I've got to get everything done, that will get you a little messed up in the head, because you'll get stressed out doing that. You'll feel overwhelmed. So, you know, you always will have time to do what's the most important things. And I would say to schedule the most important things first, even if they're harder. There was a time in my life where I scheduled the easy things first, and I never ever would get to the hard things each day. So now scheduling the most important hard things first, and then you can coast through the rest of the day with the easier things. You will get a lot more accomplished. You'll feel a better sense of accomplishment. You'll grow as a person, and you'll be able to tackle the harder things quicker and easier when you start to implement that.
Yeah, wonderful. And the 4th question is, how to control frustration? Sometimes you get frustrated by this is not happening, this is not happening. So how do you control the frustration?
Good question. So yes, there are times we all get frustrated, and there are times we feel completely overwhelmed. We don't know why things don't work out the way we wanted them to, the way we planned them to. Even if we spent hours and weeks planning and we got everything lined up right, something comes and messes it all up. And it's easy to just have that reflex kick in, to be frustrated, to be angry, to be upset, to just, you know, and a lot of that I find for myself comes from having an expectation. So you expect it to turn out a certain way, and if it doesn't, you've decided that means something about yourself, your abilities, your worth. You decide, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out and you're like, nothing ever works out for me. Well, no wonder. I can never have anything good. Everything works out for other people and it doesn't me. And we can get frustrated when we start to do this self-talk where we're telling ourselves, well, it's never going to work out. Why bother trying? I work so hard. And we have to be careful, and we have to monitor the self-talk of what we're saying to ourselves and what we're making it mean just because something doesn't work out. Frustration can come from unmet expectations. So when you do your best, yes, it's great to strive for a certain outcome, but if you don't get that outcome and it's completely out of your control and you've done everything you know how to do and you've done it perfectly, first of all, congratulations. You've gotten further than most people. You've attempted to do something and it didn't work out. So now, instead of getting frustrated, because frustrated won't change the situation, right? It's not going to make it turn out better. It already is what it is. So instead of being frustrated, when things don't work out, we have to, disconnect ourselves from our emotions. Let's try to get our feelings out of the way, because the only way it's going to work out is if we can figure out, okay, what did we do wrong? And we can kind of try to go back and see what steps along the way what could we have done better? What could we have done differently? How might have this turned out different if we did X, Y, Z different, if we, launched it differently or whatever it is, but you can't recalibrate, restructure, go back to try to fix it and do it better if you're mentally stuck in this place of emotion, like acting out of emotions. So I would say you have to watch your emotions, because your emotions, when you let them control you, they never lead you to the right path. They just don't.
Yeah, awesome. The next question is, what helps you to bounce back when things are going really bad?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. What helps you to bounce back when things are going really bad?
What helps me bounce back when things are going really badly? Taking some time away, taking time away from that, whatever task, whatever goal, whatever project you're working on. If it's not going well, you don't want to just keep doing it harder and faster and just trying to like force it to work. You don't want to force anything. So I would take the afternoon off. If things aren't going well, I would take some time to journal. I would take some time to pray. I would go for a walk. I would just start to get in your mind and start to think about, okay, why isn't this going right? Again, journaling is so helpful. It opens up all these connections in the brain when you're writing out. So I would start to write out all the questions that you have. Like, first of all, you can vent your frustrations. You can write in your journal how upset you are, how you can write all your feelings down. And once you've gotten that all out of your system, then start to ask yourself some questions. Why is this going badly? What could I have done differently? What if I tried this? And then start to ask yourself a bunch of questions. Our mind works in such marvelous ways. Once we start asking ourselves questions like, what could I have done differently? What can I do better? That will get our brain to start working on finding a solution for us. If we just start speaking negative about ourselves, oh, this never works, why did I even bother? That will never bring you a resolution. It will never make things turn out better when they're going badly. So you have to start asking yourself questions. And again, with the other thing, still separating your emotions from it. You don't want to get dragged down by feeling bad about yourself, because look, you're doing more than other people. Most people aren't even trying to accomplish their goals and dreams. They say they have them, but they never take any steps towards completing them. They make excuses. They sit on social media all day seeing what other people are doing, and they never do more than just talk about what their dreams are. So if you've done something and it's going badly, it hasn't worked out, it's failed, you've still attempted to do something, and that's something to be proud of. And each time you try something, you're figuring out how to make it right. It's like, I believe Edison, who invented the light bulb, he said something like, I didn't find out how to invent the light bulb. I found out 999 ways how not to invent the light bulb. So sometimes for us to be success in life, we got to find out 100, 200, 300, 400 ways it doesn't work before we get to that one way that does work. So you can turn around your bad days and not think of them as bad days, but think of them as learning days. I learned from this day. It didn't go the way I wanted to, but now I learned this is not the way to do it. So it's even just changing your perception on what the day is. When something doesn't go right, it's not a bad day. That's a learning day. That's a day I learned how not to do something. So I have one more bit of experience to help me do it right the next time.
Wonderful. The next question is 3 life lessons from your life experience.
3 life lessons from my life experience. Where would I start? Okay, let's start with, you can never blame anyone else for what your experience in life, for what you're going through. Now, there may be people in your life who come into your life, and it seems to cause an upheaval. It seems to mess everything up. But again, that is something you have no control over. What you do have control over is the actions you take, the reactions you have with your interactions with them, your mindset, your moving forward, your productivity. You have control over a lot more than you think you do. And just because someone comes in and seems to mess up your plans, you have a divine destiny. God preordained you to be here and now for this time and this purpose. And no matter who tries to come and mess it up, they may stall you, they may pause you, but they can't take away from you the divine destiny that God created you for. So don't get down, don't get upset, don't get frustrated, don't blame other people for whatever they're doing, because it's how do you get through that? How do you pivot? How do you move past that? In some ways, when someone comes and tries to mess you up, it can be a gift. So, and I say it's a gift in the way that it's teaching you how to navigate, how to pivot, how to press through, how to get over obstacles that maybe weren't in your way before. So I learned this lesson when I had my son, Timothy, and I was pursuing an acting career. And when I had him, I had no idea that he was born early. He ended up having all these special needs. He ended up being a child that needed all of this extra time and care and attention, more than a regular child. And we were going to up to 10 doctor's appointments a week. And he was at one point of his life on 20 different meds a day. And it was all consuming. And I started to get resentful, and I started to blame him for not having an acting career I wanted, because he was just sucking up all of my time. And so when I did a lot of self-work and went to some courses and did some self-help, and I discovered he's not the reason that I didn't have the acting career I wanted at the time. And I remember before I had him, how unfocused I was. I would work here and there when I felt like it on my goals. But when I had him, because I only had such a tiny, so small window of time to do things for myself and what I wanted, it taught me to be more laser focused. It taught me that I had to just block everything out during this small time where he's napping and do the most targeted things. I didn't have time to spend 10 hours kind of working on my goals. So the lesson is, no matter how somebody comes and you think they're messing you up or whatever, it's actually causing you to be more focused and diligent with the time you have left. And in some ways you can accomplish more in that small time than you did when you had all day long to do nothing. I have a couple of friends that they don't work and they don't do anything. And because they have all day long and they have all week long and they have all month long, they keep saying they're going to get to it. They're going to get to it, and they never get to it. So sometimes having less will help you accomplish more. That was kind of a long lesson. I don't know. Do you still want 2 more, or is that one good enough? What do you think? Do you need a couple more lessons?
Yes, it will help my audience a lot, and it will also help me.
Let's see, what can I think of? Do you have any specific topics, and then that will help me trigger life lessons? Do you have anything that you're thinking about or struggling with that maybe I can help you with?
Self-consciousness. When you are in front of a lot of people, like on a stage or taking an interview, sometimes it starts, you feel like self-consciousness. Am I looking good? Is my hair okay? And that.
Yes. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you for asking me that. That's actually something that it took me years to overcome. I used to be extremely self-conscious. And I think for me, that self-consciousness came out of not really totally believing in myself. I didn't really like who I was. So I thought I had to come across perfect to get the acceptance from the audience in order for me to feel good about myself. But that is such backwards thinking that we don't feel good. So we try to present ourselves perfect, like we have no issues, we have no problems, we do everything with excellence. And if everybody sees how excellent they are, then we might earn their love and admiration. And then in turn, we can feel good about ourselves. But the best thing you could possibly do for yourself is to love yourself first. No matter if you're overweight, no matter if you don't like your hair, no matter if you don't like your skin color, no matter if you don't think you're smart enough, no matter if you're poor, whatever it is, if you recognize you have a unique and special gift inside you, something that only you have, something where you share yourself in a way that other people don't, where you have a special way you care about people, the way you communicate with people, the way you make them feel special and you reach out to them. If you can start to list all your good qualities, make a list of all the things that make you a great person. Is it your consideration for others? Is it always putting others first? Is it being kind and considerate? Are you good at, make a list of all the things you're good at. Make a list of your good qualities and look at those every day and realize, you know what? I don't have to be like this rich and handsome person. I don't have to be this big movie star or have this great social media following. I just have to do what I do with excellence. I just have to reach the people in this audience. When you start to take the focus off of yourself and am I good enough? Are people going to like me? And you take all those thoughts and that focus and you turn them to the audience. You turn them on to the people you're speaking to, and you look into their eyes and you can see that they're all hurting, that they're all broken, that they're all craving the same acceptance that you're craving. And that when you feel good about yourself, even with all your flaws, it invites them to feel good about themselves despite their flaws. And sometimes they can relate to you more. They can relate to you even better when you don't have it all together, when you stumble over your words on stage, when you trip, when you make a joke of it, when you don't take yourself so seriously, then you are giving them permission that they don't have to be perfect, that they don't have to take themselves seriously, that you, even with your flaws, can show up and do your job to the best of your ability. You open windows of minds for people to see themselves and love themselves in the way that you are loving yourself, because you're putting that out there. You're creating that space for them. So self-consciousness, we just got to get, that's the thing. We're conscious of ourself. And we need to instead be conscious of others, to be others focused. And I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, but sometimes we want to be like, I got to have it all together. I got to have all the answers. I got to know what I'm going to say, every word. But there's a saying that says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Sometimes you stepping forward onto that stage, you looking at each audience member in the eyes, you seeing their pain and hurt and what they're going through, and you letting them know, guys, you know what? I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. There's a couple things I know, and I want to share them with you. I want to teach you. I want you to learn from it because I want you to get ahead. And I want you to learn the things I know. I may not have it all together, but I have some things on my heart I'd love to share with you. And maybe they'll help you like they help me. When you put that out there, you can be at ease. The people can be at ease. And no one's trying to put on a show. No one's trying to be perfect. Nobody cares if you have a hair sticking up this way and you don't realize till after it was over. It doesn't matter, because when you're being genuine and you're speaking from the heart, all that physical stuff just fades away, and people, you can see someone for who they are, and they can see you for who you are on the inside, where it really matters.
Yeah, this was the best life lesson I've ever had.
Yay!
So the last
All
question
right.
is a poem from your book Poetic Prescriptions which you would like to share with our audience.
Oh, a poem from a book I would like to share. Well, I've got all three of my books here. Which one would I like to share? Oh my gosh, I should have been ready. I should have done this in advance. Okay, let me see. So many. I got them so many marked that I love. Okay. This is called You Can Become What You Thought You'd Be. And this is from my newest book, Poetic Prescriptions for Pesky Problems. This is the second edition. The thoughts inside your heart and you are one. Whatever thoughts you think, you will become. There is a purpose. God has not forgot his promise, though your life appears to rot. Dreams will come true. Sometimes it's up to us. We must surrender and offer up our trust. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. The faith will manifest our dreams for more. According to your faith, be it unto you. You just need a bit. A mustard seed will do. You have all authority. You've nothing to prove. Command those mountains without doubt to move. You're given dominion here over earth. God cares for the sparrows. Think how much more you're worth. He will not forsake you or leave you to the end. He is closer than a brother. He's closer than a friend. You will accomplish what you dream and more if you believe God's word deep in your core. Reflect on his word day and night till all contrary thoughts have taken flight. Now ask, then you will receive. Knock and you will find. But most imperative, you must renew your mind. Since as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. You can become what you thought you'd be.
Yeah, awesome. The most meaningful poem I've ever heard.
Well, thank you. I take great pleasure when people tell me, normally I don't like poetry, but I like your poetry. Or they tell me they don't understand a lot of poetry, but that mine is very motivational. And I like to call it self-help poetry with a punch. So I wanted to inspire you, motivate it, give you a little kick, get you into action.
Yeah. So let's end today's episode of the Learning Podcast with a positive statement. When you finally decide your end goal, your subconscious goes to work figuring out a way to get there. Katherine Norland. Thanks a lot for answering these questions and for being in this episode of the Learning Podcast. It is an honor to have you here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thank you. So I'll see you in the next episode of the Learning Podcast. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe my YouTube channel, Naman Shah. Links are in description. Stay learning with the Learning Podcast and stay smiling with Naman Shah.